while you are reading your dog's bad breath as a minor inconvenience. Millions of microscopic pathogens are currently boring microscopic tunnels through their gum tissue, entering the bloodstream, and actively destroying their heart muscle cells from the inside out. Think about the last time you attempted to clean your dog's mouth. You probably ended up pinned to the living room carpet, wrestling a thrashing animal, dodging snaps, and trying to force a plastic buscus against a jaw, locked tighter than a bank vault. You both ended up stressed, exhausted, and fundamentally defeated. And let's be entirely honest with each other here. You probably shoved that toothbrush back into the drawer and haven't looked at it since. My name is Katja Berger. As a veterinary clinical specialist who has spent decades analyzing the physiological realities of canine oral pathology, I hear this exact confession from practically every single pet parent who walks into my clinic. You feel an overwhelming sense of guilt. You see the yellowing film creeping up their molars. You smell that distinctive, foul odor when they lick your face, and you feel like you are failing them. I need you to take a deep, clear breath right now and leave that guilt exactly where it belongs. Outside this room, brushing a canine's teeth is an evolutionary mismatch. Dogs are predators with highly sensitive territorial triggers around their facial structures, and forcing an abrasive foreign object into their oral cavity violates their deepest survival instincts. You are not a bad pet parent for failing to brush their teeth. But ignoring the hidden war raging inside their mouth? That is a luxury your dog simply cannot afford. Here is the raw, unvarnished biological truth that the commercial pet care industry routinely glosses over. Bad teeth do not just cause cosmetic issues or mild halitosis. Your dog's mouth is the primary gateway to their entire systemic anatomy. When bacteria are allowed to proliferate unchecked on the enamel, they don't just sit there. They trigger a massive, continuous inflammatory cascade. The delicate, highly vascularized periodontal ligaments become compromised. As the gum barrier degrades, millions of aggressive anaerobic bacteria break through the cellular lining and gain direct access to the venous bloodstream. From that exact moment, these pathogens hitchhike throughout the entire body. They colonize the filtration systems of the kidneys. They cause microabscesses in the liver tissue, and they target the endocardium, directly leading to irreversible, life-shortening valvular heart disease. By the time a dog reaches 3 years of age, a staggering 80% of them are already suffering from active, destructive periodontal disease. It is a silent killer, operating right under our noses. But what if the entire paradigm of dog dental care you've been fed is completely wrong? What if the absolute most powerful tool to eradicate this threat doesn't involve a toothbrush at all, but relies entirely on chemical and biological triggers already sitting inside your kitchen pantry and refrigerator? We are going to completely dismantle standard practices today and execute a total oral health masterclass. I am going to expose exactly how you can use everyday natural ingredients, specific mechanical foods, targeted antibacterial compounds, and a jaw-dropping ocean miracle to completely dissolve plaque from the inside out. Requiring zero physical wrestling, let us strip away the myths and look at the absolute foundation of your dog's daily routine, the water bowl. When pet owners think about dental decay, their minds instantly jump to kibble, treats, and wet food. Yet, the water bowl is arguably the single most concentrated incubator for dental pathogens in your entire household. Pick up your dog's water bowl right now and run your index finger along the interior base. Do you feel that slick, gelatinous, slimy coating? Sometimes it presents with a faint, almost invisible pinkish or yellowish hue. That is not just wet slime. that is a highly sophisticated, biologically engineered fortress known as a bacterial biofilm. When your dog drinks, saliva, microscopic food particles, and oral bacteria mix directly with the water. The bacteria, specifically species like Streptococcus and Pseudomonas, settle onto the surface of the bowl. Once attached, they begin to secrete a sticky, protective substance called an extracellular polymeric substance matrix. This matrix acts as an impenetrable shield. It protects the bacteria from light, simple rinsing, and even basic wiping. If you are someone who simply tops off the water bowl every morning without physically scrubbing it down, you are forcing your dog to re-ingest millions of highly concentrated, weaponized plaque-forming bacteria with every single lap of water. You are essentially pouring gasoline onto a dental fire. To halt this cycle immediately, we must implement strict bowl hygiene mechanics. The biofilm shield cannot be broken by fresh water alone. It requires thermal and chemical disruption. You must scrub the bowls daily with boiling hot, soapy water or run them through a high-temperature dishwasher cycle to completely denature the protein matrix. Furthermore, the type of water you provide changes the chemical environment of the mouth. Standard tap water is frequently saturated with heavy minerals like calcium and magnesium. While fine for basic hydration, these excess minerals actively bind with the sticky glycoproteins in your dog's saliva, providing the exact chemical building blocks required to transform soft, pliable plaque into rock-hard, calcified dental tartar within a brief 48-hour window. By switching your animal to purified, filtered water, you starve the plaque of these structural minerals. And if you want to supercharge this liquid defense system, you introduce a highly specific, clinically verified enzymatic water additive that carries the official Veterinary Oral Health Council seal. These additives are completely scentless and tasteless to your dog, yet they contain active natural enzymes that target the cellular bonds of the biofilm. Every time your dog takes a sip, these enzymes wash over the teeth, breaking down the sticky plaque matrix before it can ever bind to the enamel. It functions as a continuous, stress-free micro mouthwash that works quietly in the background, transforming their primary hydration source into a powerful medical countermeasure. To truly understand why your dog's breath smells like decaying organic matter, we have to look past the surface of the teeth and dive deep into the microscopic trenches of the oral cavity. The innocent-looking yellowish tint near the gum line is not a stain. It is a highly active, living ecosystem composed of billions of destructive microorganisms. When a dog consumes a meal, tiny microscopic particles of proteins, carbohydrates, and sugars adhere to the smooth enamel surface of the teeth. Within mere minutes, naturally occurring glycoproteins in the dog's saliva bind to these food remnants, creating an invisible, sticky film called the acquired pellicle. This pellicle acts as an anchor point, an open invitation for the early colonizers of the canine mouth, primarily aerobic bacteria like Streptococcus and Actinomyces. If you do not intervene within the first 24 to 48 hours, a dramatic, catastrophic biological shift occurs inside the mouth. The early bacterial layers begin to consume the oxygen present in the saliva, creating a completely anaerobic environment directly beneath the surface. This oxygen-deprived zone becomes the perfect breeding ground for the most dangerous aggressive pathogens in veterinary medicines. Anaerobic, gram-negative bacteria, such as Porphyromonas gallae. These specific organisms possess specialized hair-like structures called fimbriae, which allow them to literally lock onto the gum tissue and drill underneath the gingival margin. What does this actually look like in your day-to-day life? It starts with the most subtle, seemingly innocent signs that 90% of pet owners completely overlook. You might notice your dog occasionally rubbing their muzzle against the side of the sofa, scratching at their cheeks with their hind paws, scratching at their cheeks, their hind paws, or showing a slight preference for chewing their toys on only one side of their mouth. Perhaps you notice a tiny drop of pinkish-tinged saliva on their favorite tennis ball, or a faint metallic smell when they yawn near you. These are not quirky behaviors. These are classic textbook symptoms of active, painful periodontal inflammation. While you are noticing these minor cues, the hidden processes occurring beneath the gum line are terrifying. The Porphyromonas bacteria produce specialized toxic enzymes called gigipains. These enzymes actively degrade the collagen matrix that holds the gums tightly against the tooth root. As the collagen breaks down, the tissue detaches, creating deep, microscopic pockets known to veterinarians as periodontal pockets. Once these pockets form, they've become isolated chambers, where food particles, dead cells, and bacteria rot out of reach of any natural self-cleaning mechanisms. Let us look at the raw, undeniable statistics compiled by global veterinary dental societies. By age 3, over 80% of dogs exhibit clear clinical signs of periodontal disease. Among toy breeds, such as Yorkies, Chihuahuas, Pomeranians, and Shih Tzus, that number skyrockets to nearly 100% by just 2 years of age. Why are small dogs targeted so ruthlessly? It comes down to a structural anatomical phenomenon known as crowding. A Chihuahua has the exact same 42 teeth as a massive German Shepherd, but those 42 teeth are crammed into a jawbone that is a fraction of the size. This tight spatial arrangement creates thousands of microscopic, inaccessible crevices where plaque accumulates at triple these larger breeds leading to rapid bone loss. When the bacteria multiply within these deep pockets, your dog's immune system recognizes the foreign invasion to then launches a massive counterattack. The body floods the gum tissue with white blood cells, specifically neutrophils and macrophages, causing the blood vessels to dilate. This is the exact moment the gums turn from a healthy salmon pink color to a fiery, swollen red. This condition is gingivitis. But here is the critical danger. The chronic immune response cannot isolate the bacteria. The body's own inflammatory enzymes, meant to destroy the pathogens, accidentally begin to destroy the surrounding tissues instead. They start eating away at the periodontal ligament and, eventually, the alveolar bone, the actual bony socket holding the tooth in place. As the bone density drops, the tooth loses its structural anchor. It begins to microvasculate, rocking back and forth imperceptibly every time the dog bites down on something hard. This causes immense, throbbing pain that dogs are evolutionarily programmed to hide. As apex predators and pack animals, showing facial pain or vulnerability is a direct threat to their survival status, so they suffer in absolute silence. They will continue to eat, swallow their food whole, and wag their tails even while their jawbone is actively dissolving. But the damage does not remain localized to the mouth. The chronic inflammation alters the permeability of the oral capillaries. Every single time your dog chews a toy, eats dry kibble, or even forcefully barks, the mechanical pressure forces millions of these gram-negative bacteria directly through the damaged vessel walls and straight into the systemic circulatory system. This is a process called transient bacteremia. Once inside the bloodstream, these pathogens travel throughout the entire corporate anatomy. Their first major stop is the cardiovascular system. The bacteria express specific surface proteins that bind to the endothelial lining of the heart valves, particularly the mitral valve. They cluster together, forming microscopic bacterial colonies known as vegetations. These vegetations trigger chronic endocarditis, scarring the delicate valve leaflets and preventing them from closing tightly. This leads directly to mitral valve regurgitation, fluid backup into the lungs, and ultimately, congestive heart failure. Simultaneously, the blood-filtering organs are systematically bombarded. The kidneys, which filter blood under high pressure through delicate structures called glomeruli, become clogged with bacterial debris and immune complexes. This induces chronic glomerulonephrititis, leading to a progressive loss of functional nephrons and accelerating the onset of chronic kidney disease, a leading cause of death in aging canines. In the liver, the bacteria trigger microabscesses and chronic portal inflammation, disrupting the organ's ability to detoxify the body. You are no longer just dealing with a cosmetic issue or unpleasant breath. You are looking at a systemic, multi-organ assault that actively shaves years off your dog's lifespan, all originating from a layer of soft plaque that was allowed to sit undisturbed for more than 48 hours. To stop this destructive cascade, we must first dismantle the catastrophic mistakes that 99% of pet owners make every single day in the name of oral care. The commercial pet industry is flooded with products that promise miraculous dental cleanings, yet the physiological reality of these products completely contradicts their marketing claims. Let us expose the single biggest myth running rampant in the pet world: the idea that hard, dry commercial kibble cleans a dog's teeth through mechanical scraping. This claim defies the basic laws of physics and canine anatomy. When a dog bites down on a standard piece of dry kibble, the structural integrity of that kibble is highly brittle. The moment the tip of the tooth makes contact with the kibble, the pellet shatters instantly into tiny fragments before the tooth can even penetrate deep enough to touch the sides of the enamel. There is absolutely zero mechanical friction occurring near the gingival margin where the plaque actually accumulates. Furthermore, look closely at the ingredient panel of almost any commercial kibble. It is saturated with high glycemic carbohydrates, refined starches, and binding agents like corn, wheat, tapioca, or potato starch. When these starches mix with your dog's saliva, they don't clean anything. Instead, they break down into simple sugars right inside the oral cavity. These sticky, gelatinous sugars coat the teeth and slip beneath the gum line, providing the ultimate gourmet buffet for anaerobic bacteria. Feeding standard dry kibble to clean teeth is the exact biological equivalent of a human eating hard crackers to brush their teeth. It actively accelerates the formation of the sticky biofilm matrix. This brings us to the next massive industry trap: standard, store-bought dental chews. Walk into any major pet retail chain, and you will see entire aisles dedicated to colorful, bone-shaped treats claiming to eradicate plaque. If you flip those boxes over and read the ingredients, you will find a horrifying list of synthetic texturizers, gelatin, cellulose, wheat gluten, artificial green colorings, and processed animal digests. Many of these chews are incredibly high in empty calories, but their primary flaw lies in their texture. They are designed to be highly palatable, meaning they are packed with artificial flavorings that induce a frantic chewing response. A dog will typically bite a standard dental chew 2 or 3 times, breaking it into large chunks, and swallow it whole in under 30 seconds. For mechanical abrasion to successfully dislodge a mature bacterial biofilm, you require prolonged, sustained friction over the course of 10 to 20 minutes. A 30-second chew does absolutely nothing for the molars, and the synthetic ingredients place an immense digestive burden on the pancreas and liver. But the absolute most dangerous mistake owners make happens when they realize their dog's teeth are in trouble and they try to fix it using human dental product. I cannot stress this enough. Use must never, under any circumstances, allow human toothpaste to enter your dog's mouth. Human toothpastes almost universally contain a highly potent chemical foaming agent called sodium lauryl sulfate, alongside artificial sweeteners, most notably xylitol. While humans rinse and spit, dogs swallow everything. Sodium lauryl sulfate causes severe acute gastric irritation in canines, leading to hidden microbleeds in the stomach lining. Xylitol, even in microscopic quantities, is profoundly toxic to the canine physiology. The moment xylitol hits a dog's bloodstream, it triggers a massive, instantaneous release of insulin from the pancreas. This causes a catastrophic drop in blood glucose levels, severe hypoglycemia, which can plunge a dog into seizures, permanent coma, and acute hepatic necrosis, or total liver failure within hours, even if you use a safe canine paste. The physical mechanics of using a human-style bristled toothbrush on an already inflamed mouth can backfire drastically. When a dog has early-stage gingivitis, the gum tissue is highly friable, meaning the blood vessels are engorged and the epithelial lining is incredibly fragile. When you force a nylon bristled brush against that raw, sensitive tissue, you cause millions of microscopic lacerations along the gum line. Instead of cleaning the mouth, you are physically opening up direct entryways into the capillary bed. You are literally pushing the surface bacteria deeper into the bloodstream while causing intense physical pain to the animal. The dog associates oral care with sharp, throbbing discomfort, ensuring that the next time you try to touch their muzzle, their natural defense mechanism kicks in, their jaw clamps shut, and the relationship of trust is completely broken. To understand why these methods fail, we must look at the exact chemical composition of plaque versus hard tartar, which veterinarians call calculus. Soft plaque is a fluid, sticky mass of living bacteria and organic salivary proteins. At this specific stage, the bonds holding the plaque to the enamel are purely electrostatic and organic. It is completely pliable. However, if that plaque is allowed to sit undisturbed for just 48 hours, a process called mineral precipitation begins. The saliva of a dog is highly alkaline, typically possessing a pH between 7.5 and 8.5. This alkaline environment is specifically designed by nature to protect enamel from acid erosion, but it has a dark side. The high pH causes the saliva to be supersaturated with calcium phosphate ions. When these calcium ions flood the soft plaque matrix, they bind with the bacterial cell walls and undergo a rapid crystallization process. The soft plaque literally petrifies, transforming into a mineralized inorganic stone fortress. Once plaque has calcified into hard tartar, it forms a covalent molecular bond with the hydroxyapatite crystals of the tooth enamel. It becomes physically impossible to dissolve or scrub this material off with a standard toothbrush, a carrot, or any over-the-counter chew, no matter how hard you scrub. The surface of calcified tartar is incredibly rough and porous, acting exactly like a piece of Velcro inside the mouth. It provides a permanent, jagged scaffolding where new layers of fresh, active bacteria can latch on and drill down into the periodontal pockets at an exponential rate. If you attempt to forcibly scrape this hard tartar off at home using metal scaling tools bought online, a dangerous trend running rampant on social media, we commit a critical error. Without professional training, a metal scaler inevitably creates thousands of microscopic scratches across the smooth enamel surface. You might successfully pop off a visible chunk of yellow stone, making the tooth look cleaner to your eye. But you have just turned the enamel into a microscopic raked field. The now ruined enamel surface allows future bacteria to adhere with 10 times the gripping power, ensuring that dental decay returns faster and deeper than ever before. True oral health can only be achieved by targeting the biological and chemical environment of the mouth before crystallization occurs, utilizing natural, systemically active compounds that alter the chemistry of the saliva itself. To dismantle this bacterial fortress without ever causing pain or wrestling your animal to the floor, we must implement a highly calculated, biologically grounded protocol utilizing targeted kitchen therapeutics. Our first objective is to break down the electrostatic bonds of the soft plaque matrix using organic, unrefined virgin coconut oil. The physiological efficacy of coconut oil rests entirely on its exceptional concentration of medium-chain fatty acids, specifically lauric acid, which makes up approximately 50% of its lipid profile. When lauric acid mixes with canine saliva, it undergoes a chemical transformation that allows it to easily penetrate the lipid-based cell membranes of gram-negative oral pathogens. It physically disrupts the bacterial cell walls, causing cellular leakage and rendering the bacteria incapable of adhering to the smooth enamel surface. Furthermore, coconut oil alters the surface tension of the teeth, creating a slick hydrophobic barrier that prevents new plaque from anchoring. To administer this safely without overloading your dog's digestive tract, you must follow strict volumetric dosing based on metabolic weight. For toy and small breeds under 10 pounds, the therapeutic dose is exactly 1/4 of a teaspoon per day. For medium dogs weighing 11 to 40 pounds, escalate the dose to 1 full teaspoon. For large and giant breeds exceeding 40 pounds, you can safely administer up to 1 tablespoon daily. However, you must introduce this systemically over a 7-day upward titration period. On days 1 through 3, provide only 1/4 of the target dose mixed directly into their raw or wet food. On days 4 through 6, increase to half dose, only reaching the full therapeutic amount on day 7. This cautious titration prevents the sudden upregulation of pancreatic lipase, completely eliminating the risk of acute pancreatitis or gastrointestinal upset if your animal is already exhibiting severe halitosis due to evaporating volatile sulfur compounds produced by oral bacteria. You will pair the coconut oil with a localized breath-freshening deodorizer, fresh curly parsley, Petroselinum crispum. You must be meticulously precise here. Buy only the highly crinkled, distinctively textured curly parsley varieties. Do not ever use flat-leaf Italian parsley or wild spring parsley, as the latter contains dangerous levels of furanocoumarins, which induce severe photosensitization and systemic toxicity in canines. Curly parsley is heavily saturated with raw chlorophyll, a natural magnesium-centered porphyrin ring structure that acts as a profound systemic cleanser. Chlorophyll actively neutralizes volatile sulfur compounds within the oral cavity and the gastric chamber by altering the oxidation state of the odor-producing molecules. Take 3 to 5 sprigs of fresh curly parsley, strip the leaves from the tough woody stems, and mince them finely with a sharp blade until they resemble a fine paste. Mix a tiny pinch, roughly 1/8 of a teaspoon for small dogs, and half a teaspoon for large dogs directly into their morning meal. Within 12 hours, the chlorophyll will systematically neutralize the biological byproducts of oral decomposition, improving their breath from the inside out to target active, red, and swollen gum tissue, known clinically as gingivitis. We shift our focus to modulating the local inflammatory pathways using an exceptional herbal therapy, cold-brewed, decaffeinated green tea, Camellia sinensis. Green tea is packed with a unique class of polyphenols known as catechins, the most powerful of which is epigallocatechin gallate, or EGCG. Clinical trials in veterinary dentistry demonstrate that EGCG actively suppresses the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines, specifically tumor necrosis factor alpha and interleukin-1 beta, which are responsible for the destruction of the periodontal ligament. To prepare this therapeutic solution, steep 1 bag of pure, organic, decaffeinated green tea in 8 ounces of boiling water for exactly 10 minutes to extract the maximum concentration of polyphenols. Remove the tea bag and allow the liquid to cool completely in the refrigerator until it reaches a chilled temperature. Never apply warm or hot liquids to inflamed tissue, as heat induces vasodilation, which increases swelling and accelerates capillary bleeding. Once chilled, you will execute the 10-second manual wipe. Take a clean, sterile 4x4-inch rough cotton gauze square, which can be purchased cheaply at any pharmacy, and saturated in the cold green tea. Wrap the damp, textured gauze securely around your index finger. Lift your dog's upper lip gently. Using a swift, steady, horizontal sweeping motion, wipe the gauze along the exterior surfaces of the upper and lower premolars and molars. Do not apply heavy downward pressure. The rough micro-texture of the cotton gauze combined with the anti-adherent properties of the tea catechins will mechanically catch and peel away the soft, sticky plaque film effortlessly. Perform 1 quick swipe on the left side, reward the dog with a tiny lick of plain, unsweetened yogurt, and immediately perform 1 swipe on the right side. The entire process takes exactly 10 seconds, induces 0 pain, and prevents the soft plaque from ever initiating the calcification process. Now, let us deploy the absolute pinnacle of non-brushing veterinary oral science, the ocean's miracle, a highly specific marine macroalgae known as Ascophyllum nodosum. This unique brown kelp, harvested from cold North Atlantic waters, contains a complex matrix of sulfated polysaccharides, fucoidinoids, and polyphenols that work entirely through systemic absorption. When your dog consumes a microdose of this specific kelp powder, the active biocompounds pass through the stomach lining, enter the systemic bloodstream, and are transported directly to the salivary glands. Once secreted back into the oral cavity via the saliva, these compounds actively disrupt the covalent bonds between calcium phosphate crystals and the tooth enamel. It acts as a continuous internal stone softener. Over a period of 3 to 6 weeks of daily ingestion, the rock-hard, yellowish calculus buildups along the gum line structurally degrades, turning into a soft, porous mush that simply crumbles off the enamel when the dog chews their regular items. The precise therapeutic dosage for pure, organic Ascophyllum nodosum powder is 1/8 of a teaspoon for dogs under 25 pounds, 1/4 of a teaspoon for dogs weighing 26 to 50 pounds, and 1/2 of a teaspoon for large dogs over 50 pounds, sprinkled directly onto their food once per day. Crucial physiological warning. Because marine kelp contains high concentrations of naturally occurring iodine, it stimulates the production of thyroid hormones. If your dog has been diagnosed with hyperthyroidism, thyroid tumors, or is on thyroid hormone regulation therapy, you must entirely omit Ascophyllum nodosum from their protocol. For animals with healthy endocrine systems, this ingredient is the single most powerful tool in your preventative arsenal to clear away the softened plaque remnants. We introduce a safe, whole food mechanical scrubber, large, raw, unpeeled carrots. When a dog gnaws on a dense, highly fibrous raw carrot, their teeth deeply penetrate the tough vegetable matter. The long, parallel cellulose fibers of the carrot act as nature's automated toothpicks, physically scraping the crown of the tooth and massaging the gingival margin as the dog bites down. However, you must strictly evaluate your dog's chewing style before utilizing this method. If your dog is a gulper, meaning they frantically bite items into large chunks and swallow them instantly without structural grinding, whole carrots pose an extreme acute esophageal choking hazard. For gulpers, you must use a vegetable peeler to slice the raw carrot into long, ultra-thin, flexible ribbons that can be mixed into their bowl, or skip this step entirely and utilize a rubber chew toy with deep, textured grooves designed to trap soft plaque. If your dog is a slow, methodical chewer, you can safely offer a cold, whole raw carrot straight from the refrigerator as a highly satisfying, low-calorie, vitamin A-rich dental treat, twice per week. Finally, we must optimize the oral microbiome by intentionally populating the mouth with beneficial, health-promoting bacteria that outcompete destructive pathogens. We achieve this by introducing plain, unsweetened milk kefir. Kefir is a deeply fermented dairy beverage containing dozens of live strains of probiotic bacteria, including Lactobacillus acidophilus and Bifidobacterium, alongside beneficial wild yeasts. When your dog licks a spoonful of kefir, these friendly bacteria coat the mucosal surfaces of the mouth, rapidly consuming the available oral nutrients and shifting the local pH toward a slightly more balanced environment. This directly starves out the dangerous anaerobic bacteria, which require stagnant, alkaline, protein-dense pockets to survive. Administer 1 teaspoon of plain kefir daily for small dogs and up to 2 tablespoons for large dogs, either as a standalone treat or mixed into their food. By systematically combining these natural kitchen mechanisms, disrupting the biofilm with strict bowl hygiene, utilizing the anti-adherent power of coconut oil, soothing the gums with green tea catechins, and softening calculus from the inside out with Ascophyllum's notisum, you are implementing a complete, scientifically validated oral health protocol that eliminates the need for stressful daily brushing. You are actively protecting their heart, their filtration organs, and their systemic health with zero friction. If this deep, practical breakdown has empowered you to take control of your dog's oral longevity today, please acknowledge this work by engaging with the validate button protocols below. Select the subscription link to lock in your access to our clinical health modules. Activate the thumbs up icon to broadcast this vital pet-saving research to owners worldwide, and leave a detailed comment explaining which specific kitchen strategy you will deploy in your home tonight. Protect their smile.